Recording. All right, everyone. Hey, back with another episode of Shtajio's vlog. I'm not even going to try to remember what episode number it is. I'll try to remember for next week. I'm Henry Thurlaw.
And Arthur Isom.
Okay, so we actually had just done this, but our topic went completely off the rails when Arthel just started basically pointing his finger at the screen and being like, this is why all of you guys don't work hard enough and why you're not going to get stuff. And
you're going to be successful in life.
So let me actually try to set this up and kick it over to him because it's very entertaining and maybe he could say it more concisely. See, the problem from last time, it wasn't what you said, it's just that you said it over the course of like 30 minutes.
I talk too long,
So, okay, so what is it? We get lots of emails about, hey, I'm a recent high school graduate or whatever, or a college student, and give me some advice, like, can I intern for you? How do I become an artist? How do I do this? And I think we both agree that we try to answer as many of those as possible. But sometimes reality is harsh, I guess. So, Arthel, you believe that people need to essentially make a list. I think we both believe this, right? People need to make a list. They have to realize realistically where they are right now and then where they want to get to, right? So, and then you need to be just very realistic about what stands between you now and the thing you want to accomplish.
You just need to be diligent and getting through your list.
And so our list, for example, for coming out here to Japan included a lot of things, which was move out to the other side of the planet and learn a new language that isn't normal for you and get a visa to live in that country and then get a portfolio that's good enough to get you into that industry and et cetera, right? So the list will probably be a lot less for people trying to just crack into something that's available around them, right? If their industry is in their city or town. But you still have to be realistic, right? So let's say there is a high school kid or a college kid right now, and they're fairly serious, or at least they believe they are, and they want to crack into this industry. What is your advice to them? And go ahead and be as harsh as you want.
They want to crack into the animation industry.
I'm going to leave it to you. They want to crack into some art industry.
Some art industry.
Yeah.
I try to, so Henry said that, I can get a little verbose and keep going on and on and on. So I try to be as concise as possible. Well, I think that, I don't know, that's difficult for me, right? To be very concise because Henry and these guys, they always make fun of me. I'm very specific about things. And I do think that, I'm specific about how people need to do things. So I think if you want to be an animator, the goal is to be good because you will be comparing yourself to be in this industry. You're going to be next to people who are going to be good. So you want to be as good as they are. So practice is important. So decide what it is that you like to do and practice that. Figure out there's lots of YouTube videos, there's lots of YouTube tutorials about different parts of the industry, different parts of or different fields, landscape artist, concept artist, character designer, figure, colorist or something like that. Choose one of those and then just go down that rabbit hole of YouTube videos and practice.
I think the thing that gets you, and which is what did just go off the rails, was that you are, and you're not probably wrong about this, but it's just very interesting. You are completely opposed to the concept that people can skip steps or that they can accomplish things quickly. Like they need to go through every single rigorous, really hard training session, and you need to have your sketchbook for years and years and draw every single day, and et cetera, et cetera. You don't think so? Because I guess the topic of that went off the rails last time was like, are there some suggestions that we can give to people
that they can get from point A to D without going to B and C?
Well, see, you heard it that way. But is there a way to be a teacher and like maybe help them get there faster than it took us, or is it just impossible?
Okay, so so I don't know, because like it's interesting because I don't want to get too off topic, because I also feel that is probably like a cultural thing too. Like, it's just interesting because the way that I was brought up, it is that like, like, hey man, like, hey dad, or hey teacher, hey Mrs. Sally, can I go to the back of the room and get this book? No. Like, you can't do that because you have to do this work, you have to do that. So from a very young age, I think process was really installed in my mind. Not even process, but just like, the only way I can do this is if I did this, and this. And then after I did those things, then I was able to get whatever, ice cream. So I think like, so it's really difficult for me to see beyond that. And so I'm not gonna say that there is no way to get to a step without skipping steps. Like, perhaps you can. Like, but I do believe that my own ideology is that that instead of skipping steps, that like I don't know, I feel that steps are important. I feel that like you need to get through these steps in order to be better, or in order to achieve what it is that you want to achieve, because you would have gone through the things that would have made you what you need to be when you get there.
I don't disagree with you on any of that at all, but let me word it this way, right? Mm-hmm. Ready? Someone sends you a message, right? They're a recent college graduate or something like that, right? And they ask you, how do I become a background artist, right? You're a background artist. Yeah. Is there a way you could have done it that you think you could have accomplished your goal faster or better than the way you did it, so that you can give them some actual advice? Hey, take it from me, if you work on this, I bet you'll reach the conclusion a bit faster and more efficiently.
So that's an interesting question, because I think most people, you run through those thoughts in your mind. Like, and especially once you actually start working. I think everybody gets out of college and then like, oh man, I could have just started working, and then I would have, like, I don't know, I don't need to make fun of people, but like everyone goes through that. Once you get into the job, you think that you didn't need school, right? Like, you're like, oh, I didn't need to go to school, I didn't need to do this, because like I just learned easier ways to do it. But the only reason it was easier is because you did go to school. It's how I really felt. And then even when I was working, so when I started working, I felt that like I felt that same way. Like, after I left college here in Japan, like the animation school here, then I started working at over to Kobo. I was like, shoot man, I could have just skipped the technical school. I could have just skipped the technical school and just came straight into the animation industry, because I had to relearn everything over anyway, especially because of the way that Japan teaches you. And so like I felt that. But that was when I was a rookie artist, and I didn't know anything, and it still took me forever just to paint things. And then, although I was fairly quick at that time, but I wasn't as fast as my senpai. But then now that I'm a senior artist, and I've been in this industry for a really long time, and I think back at that, and I'm like, wow, I was like a fool, because if I would have skipped that, like, if I would have skipped the school, all the problems that I still had when I got into Ogakura, it would have been like multiplied, and I can see it in our trainees and the people that I'm working with now. I'm like, wow, man, like the problems that they have are things that, some of those problems I didn't have because I went to school and I learned those things. And so it's like, as an artist, because I went to the Academy of Arts and the technical school, I understand color theory, I understand perspective, I understand structure. The artists who are skipping that college, that knowledge, and only going to technical school have no concept of perspective, no concept of it, because they're skipping classes. And I was like, so when you ask me, hey, can't I just skip steps? My answer will always be no.
Well, it's so funny though, because you keep, and I've done it a few times now too, using this word "skip steps," right? Which is like
whether you ask, can I skip steps?
No, right? I know, but aren't you saying though, like so there's no advice essentially you can give anyone other than, well, kid, you know, pull up your bootstraps and get to work for years and years and years and years.
Yeah.
The end. Now get out there, because it's a hard world.
It's a hard
like
life.
like isn't there some advice to help at all, or is it just do the hard work, do it? Like that's all you can say.
Like, so what do parents tell children? Listen to the parents. Listen to your teachers. Whoa, hey, can't you give me some advice, Mom, so I can skip preschool and go straight to high school? No.
Does anyone say that? People are saying, can you give me some advice to enter an industry? And you're like, no! How dare you even ask the question? You sicken me.
That is not what I'm saying. I'm not saying no, I'm giving the advice. But the difference is like, if you don't want to hear the advice because you want new advice, what I'm saying is that is my advice. Like, you know, my
just
advice
work hard. So, guys, if you ever plan on messaging Arthel,
yes.
Arthel, I saw an article about you. You're an inspiration to me. Do you have any advice for it? Just know the advice is get out there and work harder.
Yeah, but you know what's interesting?
Nothing else. There's no response.
You and I have this same response from the industry. Like, oh, I want to produce a film. What do they tell us?
No, I know.
Hey, can I just be Quentin Tarantino? Like, can't I just be him? Do I have to make the movies first? Do I need to make the shorts and things like that? Do I need to kind of get through it? But can't I just be like freaking James Cameron?
Does the concept of advice exist? Like, is there something you can suggest?
Okay, like what everybody suggests is like, so when you ask James Cameron or George Lucas or any of these guys, like if you say, hey, how can I do what you do? What do they say? You can skip school. You don't have to do that stuff. Just get out there and do it. That will always be the answer. Like if you don't want knowledge, you just want to do it, then the only answer is just get out there and do it, right? Because like that means no matter what steps I'm telling you to take, you don't want to hear those. You just want to do it, but that is
just for the sake of having a little bit of moral at the end of this. What would be an example? What would What would be? You just said they don't want to hear my advice, right? So just as an example,
like you're saying my advice is wrong. Like work hard. No, that is my advice, right? Work hard.
At the end of the day, is it really just so? Okay, let me word it this way. Let's say there's a person who is clearly willing to work hard, right? And they've proven that to you, and you're like, wow, this is a hard worker. And then they come up to you, and it's like, I'm still not getting these backgrounds exactly the way I want. Is there some type of technical advice, not from a book, but just some type of, you've been in the industry for so long, is there some type of wisdom that came with that you could give me a one-liner now?
That's kind of difficult.
Or not a one-liner, but a quick explanation,
the answer is difficult only because when that person comes to me, so everyone being different, their problem would be different. Right, so I would look at, but if I can understand, if I know that this person is very serious and that they're really diligent and that they've already done the things that they needed to do to get here. When I look at their work, which you even said the same thing, like looking at animators, the only way you can truly tell what their issue is when you've seen that they've been doing many things. So every artist who comes to me, every person who's watching this video, every single one of their lifestyle and everything's so different. But if they came to me and I got to see what it is that they show me, I would give them advice specific to what their problem is. But I can't give specific advice without knowing what it is that they are having.
It's funny. I'll end with this. This will be my part. We actually agree almost entirely. Yeah. This is just fun because at the end of the day, I just wanted you to give me one sentence of advice, and that you must be so strict, all the time with the hard work is just funny. Because I actually do agree with that, but it's like you'd think you'd be able to bend for just a little bit to give a little advice to the people.
My advice is practice, work hard, and practice.
Bootstraps.
Practice makes perfect.
All right, that's our episode, I guess, this week. Shtajio Daiji. See you guys next time.
Peace.
Oh, hey guys, we kept talking after the episode was done.
Yeah.
Just this kind of came up.
Because last
So
we were like last
well, we were
episode,
talking about
skipping steps, but you're saying that that's
your
not a
type
good
of
thing.
advice.
Yeah.
But hypothetically, if I was to give advice, like just to put, like, hold my feet to the fire, well, how would you handle it,
Yeah.
Henry? So, like, if it comes to animation, so I'm going to use some animation specific things here, but like I would say to obviously, like you said, if I saw exactly.
No, you can't repeat.
No. Hold on, no. I'm just saying, if I saw exactly what was wrong with the person's art, I would be able to. I would be able to tailor suggestions and advice better. But let's just say, generally, a person's a newbie at animation, right? Or
They just come up to you and they're like, "Hey, Henry, I saw your
and I was feeling
You're the man, like."
And I was feeling generous. I was feeling generous to give an answer.
Advice,
one thing I would say is, like, I would focus on early on for layouts. Draw characters in spaces, right? That's not something that might be taught exactly at most animation schools, because there's like a layout artist and then there's an actual character artist for most Western productions, in my experience. But if you actually just force yourself to draw them both together, you'll almost just that way start getting better at least at perspective and actually fitting characters into a world, right? Because you'll be forced to just put their feet on that ground, right? So that would be one. And then when it came to motion, focus on arcs. I mean, all of this is stuff you can find in the Animator Survival Kit and stuff like that. So like you say, hard work will get you there. But what I would try to do is direct people in the right direction, because there's a ton of books out there and there's a ton of things to study, and I would want to just get them focused on a couple that I think are really important. There's advice on all of these things that exist out there, but the two I want you to look at right now is draw characters in space and focus on arcs. When characters move, if a hand is here and then here, how did the hand get from here to here? If it's directly in the middle, that's awkward. If you draw a breakdown pose that's like the hand is in a totally different position, like that's when you end up with like this kind of animation where it's like, oh, the arm was jittering or something. Think about arcs. So you have an option to get the arm from here to here. It's above in a circle, below in a circle, or maybe like forward in a circle, right? But like generally, especially for animation, that might not be how we move in real life, but in animation that results in smoother things, right? Mm-hmm. So it's not obviously hard work gets them there and better, but maybe suggesting that kind of stuff will get them focusing on two really, really important things that they might not have noticed were actually among the most important things if they just jumped into it without any direction.
So, it was interesting because I thought of some idea, or I had some questions when you said that, or not questions, but there were like some things that I became aware of when you said that, because like you said, so you're repeating like what you read in the artist or Animator Survival Kit and things like that. And then it dawned on me that is probably what is difficult about like background painting and stuff, because there aren't really lots of books. Like there's landscape painting books, right? And then there's perspective for architecture, but there's so many animation books, It's really interesting because I think the field has been so developed, for years and years and years, and so essentially it's like you're just kind of like, you can regurgitate, but ever since Disney, it was like the background department wasn't really a background department. It's just they just found landscape painters who could paint, and then that was like the first department that got dissolved, right? And so it's like, which is really interesting.
Found your destiny, Arthel. You got to write that book.
Yeah, I'm gonna write a book about like my book is gonna say everybody like practice like really hard.
You got guys. Bye guys.